Hey everyone, welcome back. I just did my brows. If you guys want to see a quick little brow tutorial, I'll have that linked in the description below. I always like to do almost all the time. Sometimes I switch it up, but 99% of the time I like to do my brows, prime my eyes, and then my eyeshadow. I like to do all that before my face because when you do your eyeshadow, sometimes you deal with fallout, which is where like the shadow starts falling on your face. And if I've already done my entire face and I get eyeshadow, it's gonna ruin it. So majority of the time I like to do my eye stuff first. So I already have my brows done. What I like to do, I don't use traditional eyeshadow primers. What I like to use to make sure that my eyeshadow is going to stick, it's gonna stay on all day, it's gonna help less creasing. I actually have pretty oily eyelids. I have normal to dry skin, but my eyelids get oily. So I like to use a waterproof concealer. The same concealer that I use to clean up my brows, I put it on my eyelid. First off, you can't see any of my veins or, you know, any discoloration. So that's one thing I like about it. So it's gonna let the true color of your eyeshadow pop out, and it's going to be true to color, and it's not going to get mixed in with, you know, the discoloration of your eyes. And then second off, it helps the eyeshadow stick. It helps it, you know, helps with that oil. This is a waterproof concealer, so I like to use this as a eyeshadow primer. You can use eyeshadow primers if you want. If you've been doing that for years and you love it, keep doing that. But for me personally, this is what I like to use in my makeup routine. So I'm gonna be doing a basic smoky eye, a basic kind of just how to do basic eyeshadow, just to give your eyes a little bit of dimension, give you a little bit of color for the fall coming up, or you can do this all year round. I do it all the time, no matter what season it is. So I like to go in with neutrals when I'm doing like a light basic smoky eye. This is the Morphe 35O palette. It's a really inexpensive palette that you can get. Has a lot of neutral colors, has some shimmers. I also build custom eyeshadow palettes on my website if you guys want to build your own palette. But this one has, you know, a handful of shades in here. So what I like to do, I'm going to show you guys step by step, but I'm going to go in with my number 10 brush. This is a fluffy little blending brush, and I like to go in with a cream shade or like a nudie shade. So depending on your skin tone, you might, you know, do a darker concealer to prime your lids. Obviously you're not gonna do the same color as me if you're deeper or lighter, and so your initial cream shade might be a little darker or lighter. I don't know if you can get really lighter than this, but you might want to go in, if you're a little deeper skin tone, you might want to go in with this shade as like your initial cream shade. So I like to coat the brush, and you want to tap off. You see how much extra powder you get? Because you don't want to put too much powder on your eyes. If you put too much, it'll overcoat your eyes, it'll get a little crazy, it just won't look that good. So I'm gonna come in closer, and I like to just kind of pat this, and you guys will see the difference between, and I go all the way up to the eyebrow, just underneath. You want to just get everywhere that has concealer. Can you guys see how this just gives it that soft finish, and it kind of sets that concealer? You can see it just softens that eye up. And so I just like to take my brush and do the same thing on the other side. And it also highlights that brow bone if you really want to build it up under the eyebrow. Okay, so both eyes are done. And what I like to do next is I like to build up my shades from lightest to darkest majority of the time. So the next shade I'm probably gonna go in with, let's see, would probably be this taupey shade right here. And this is going to be our transition shade. I'm gonna use the same brush because it's a fluffy brush. It's gonna really get into that crease area. I'm gonna tap it off, if you guys can hear that. So it's coated, and we're gonna go in our crease. You know where your crease is. Some people have hooded eyes, some people have a large eye space. I have pretty much like a in-between eye space. So where your eyes crease, you see where your eyes fold, that is where you want to put like a taupey crease shade. And that's what they call the transition, because this shade is going to help transition all the darker colors you're going to want to do. One more. This is really going to be a good just transition. If you've ever seen anything that's ombre, that's kind of what a smoky eye is. It's kind of like this ombre effect where you want it to all blend together, and you don't want to just be like you know, dark, light. You know, you want to have that transition, and this is such an in-between shade. It's really going to help you accomplish that. So the next shade I'm probably going to go into, I wish these had numbers or names, but you can kind of just eyeball it if you have your own palette, or like I said, if you want to customize one, I will help you find your perfect shades. But I'm going to coat this with another like brown shade, but it's a step darker, if you can tell from the last taupey shade. And what I like to do is I'm going to start buffing this out and blending in your crease. You know where your crease is, where it's like towards the edge of your brow. You're gonna just want to like pat it out. And don't make this harder than it is, guys. I promise, if you just keep blending and practicing, you will get it down. And I know it seems, some of you probably think this is the most simple tutorial ever, but like seriously, when I first started makeup, I wish I had found such a simple tutorial just to teach me, because I don't know, people would just talk about they'd be like, oh, next I'm going in with transition shade. I'd be like, well, what is it for? So we're gonna do it on the other side, and I kind of blend it into that transition shade just a tad once we've kind of used the majority of the shade on the outer edge. Then I'll slowly transition them together and blend them together. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go with an even deeper shade. So the last shade we just used was this one. I think we'll go in, you know what, I'm gonna mix some of this orangey, because a smoky eye can be any color scheme. It's just, I feel like the smoky eye is more of a technique than it is like a color. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the orange, and then I'm gonna dip into this dark brown shade, which you could even use for your eyebrows. If you like to use powders on your eyebrows, that would be a good shade if you have darker eyes. So I'm gonna take this, you can kind of see the orange and the dark brown mixed together, and I'm gonna pat that in. And that orangey shade, it just adds a little bit. Even if you feel like you don't see a visible difference, adding little shades here and there really helps build it all up. Okay, so that was the number 10 brush, super fluffy. This is good for basic blending. But now I'm going to take this number 8 brush, and if you guys can see, it is super dense as opposed to the fluffy brush. You guys can see the difference. So this is gonna help really build up some deeper colors. I'm not gonna do black or charcoal. I'm probably just gonna go back in with the chocolate brown. So the last ones we used was this one of these two, and the orange. So I'm gonna go in with this deeper shade. They might look a little like charcoal-y on camera, but they're just a deep brown. And I'm gonna have this brush coated, if you guys can see. Tap off the excess and start smudging at the end of my eye. And it's really gonna deepen up this without having to blend, because sometimes you can get a little carried away with blending and blend it in areas you don't want it to be. So that's why I like to just get this, because it's very dense. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna do, this like angled eyeshadow brush. This is the number 9 brush, and I'm going to take another deep brown shade right here. This is the one we just smudged out, but I'm gonna take this and kind of mix these two together. So I'm gonna take this and sort of place it right here. And you guys see that fallout, like I said. Definitely do your eyeshadow first. Okay, lastly, I'm gonna do some shimmer shades in just a second, but I'm gonna go back in with that orangey shade with the fluffy brush and kind of just go back over everything. And really kind of warms the look up. Okay, lastly, we're gonna do some shimmer. So you can definitely use like a packing brush. So I will show you that technique, but I will also show you how to use your finger. So this is actually a lip brush. This is the number 12 brush, but I like using it for eyes. Like, I could definitely use it for lips, but I'm gonna use it for my eyes in this video. And I'm gonna just take a shimmer shade. I would, you know, with this look, you could do pretty much any of these shimmers actually. And if you really want your shimmer to pop, you can put it on your brush, take some setting spray, and spray it, and it's going to make the eyeshadow pop. All right, so we'll do this eye, and you're just gonna want to put it on the inner corner area. Like so, and I'm doing it pretty softly. I'm gonna pick it up on the brush again, and we still have some setting spray residue. Setting spray just kind of gives it this wet, shiny look. So you don't want to go put your shimmer where the dark colors are. You kind of just want to keep it on that inner portion of your eye. And can you kind of see the difference? It kind of just fades. It's that ombre effect. So the other way you could do it is you could put your finger in there, make sure your fingers are clean. It's going to be a little easier, but it's gonna pop a little more, like so. And then what I like to do, kind of do it to the side too, is just go back in one more time, that fluffy brush, kind of go back over everything. This eye kind of lost a little bit of those deeper colors, but I kind of like to just blend it all. Don't really go into that shimmer, just keep it right there. And guys, that's pretty much it. I know this is like almost a 20-minute video on how to do like the most simple smoky eye, but there are people, there are people out there who don't know how to, genuinely don't know how to do these things. And it's just gonna give your eyes dimension once you have your foundation on and your mascara. It's just going to have that extra dimension. And this is again why I like to save my foundation for after my eyes, because you could just take a makeup wipe or a baby wipe and get this under eye. It has all this makeup on. Guys, look how much I just wiped off. Maybe if you're a little more careful than I am, you won't have to do this, but it's on my nose too. Yeah guys, that's it. I hope that you learned something from this video. If you did, please tag me on your makeup looks on Instagram or Facebook, or message me and let me know that you found value in this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.